Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Empowerment Series today with me, Farisha. And this special podcast is dedicated to the amazing woman in Malaysia. And I am very delighted and honored to interview today Miss Fildzah Zulkifli. Hi, Fildzah. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Okay, so Fildzah, can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, so I am currently 21 years old, and I'm currently running the marketing, business operations, and overall business management of a fashion tech startup called Ombre. So just to give some insight about Ombre, we're a software as a service company, and we've actually used AI to build a virtual stylist. So it's a styling software. So I've actually graduated from college about 2 years ago when I was 19. Thanks to an accelerated academic upbringing, which allowed me to graduate early, specifically in business.
Okay, so what is the most challenging moment in your career? How do you overcome it? How do you overcome those challenges?
So I think with that said, given that I've graduated 2 years ago when I was 19, and I think it's not just one specific defining moment, it's more of an amalgamation of challenging moments, if you can say that, in my career so far, is actually facing or being forced to face the reality of, I guess, growing up early or growing up too fast, however you want to call it, or just forcing myself to make adult decisions more so than my peers would have to at my age. So I think that came with a number of consequences and a number of subset of challenges. So I felt like I had no one to rely on. I felt like I only had to trust myself. I couldn't rely on others per se. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. I felt like I was too young for certain crowds, that some people wouldn't take me seriously at work. And I felt like I was too old for my peers who were all still in school and university, having fun. And I just felt like that I just lost that sense of belonging per se. So I think one way for me to cope with this and one way for me to really overcome this in the past year, especially since I started working, is to really understand what my values are, really reflect on myself and understand, strip away all the identity of age, of name, of life experiences per se, but what are my values, and understanding, am I believing or am I acting upon my values, or am I surrounded by people that's reflecting the same values that I want, regardless of age. So I think that's helped me to really define and really overcome that sense of being lost or sense of not belonging anywhere. And I think just the fact that I want to hone my life's purpose and just the value that I bring to the table, that really helped as well. And just understanding a bit more in terms of self-reflection and in some ways naturally self-forgiveness as well for any mistakes that I've made, especially in these current times.
Yes, and I absolutely agree with you. Age is just a number, it's all in the mind. You see? It's all in the mind. So age is just a number. You can be 22 or you can be 35, you can be 40 or you can be 50. It's all about your determination, your passion. If you're willing to do whatever it takes, your passion will guide you through. So it's not a matter of age, it's a matter of passion.
Exactly. It's like you said, it's all in the mind. So as long as you surround yourself with the people who believe in the same things you do, it doesn't matter who they are or how old they are, then you'll be fine.
Yes, people with the same value, and then your purpose. You have to know, what is your life purpose? What is your mission? What is your vision? What is your purpose? So when you have a clear purpose, so it will help and guide you to reach your goals.
Exactly. That's very true.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. Who are the most inspirational women leaders that you admire in Malaysia and also internationally?
So I guess to start with Malaysia first, I would say former ministers Hannah Yeoh and Yeoh Bien, because I think they embody that spirit of women empowerment, that spirit of go-getter women that I think we all want to aspire to be as women, as women ourselves, in terms of, especially as they were leading, Yeoh Bien was leading the department that was mainly dominated by men in STEM, science, environment department. The fact that she was leading, and she wasn't leading very timidly at that. She wasn't very compromising in terms of her identity as a woman. In fact, she was very much more proud of it rather than standing back to all these other male counterparts. So I think in Malaysia, like at home, they're the ones that I look up to most in terms of their integrity, their wit, and just their unforgivingness or relentlessness to be a woman. Because I think more often, a lot of women, I wouldn't say a lot per se, but some women in high positions can be a bit forgiving, can be a bit timid to their male counterparts. I think because they feel like they owe something to men. They feel like they owe their position or their success to men. They want to thank them for giving them the position that they are now, which I think is a bit flawed. And again, as a woman, I think it shouldn't be hard for us to take pride in our work because we are as deserving as our counterparts. So I think Hannah, you and Yubi, being in the positions that they were very unforgiving and were exemplary of taking pride and just taking their lead forward, regardless of what people were talking about. But I feel like if we were to go a bit broader internationally, I think Viola Davis, so she's actually an actress.
Wow, I follow her online too. High five.
Yeah, so I actually look up to her. One of the many Good. Yeah, so a lot of her movies and her shows.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is again another example of just unforgiving women. And again, I feel like people might take this the wrong way, saying unforgiving, too harsh, too loud, too rude sometimes, right? But being unforgiving, I don't think means being rude. I think being unforgiving just means being proud. And there's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself, of your identity. And the fact that she's always talking about not being hesitant about who you are, something that I'm inspired by mostly.
Okay, so in your own words, Fildzah, what does woman empowerment means to you?
To me, I think women empowerment is more about supporting women or just about being collectively supporting women. So what I mean by that is I think one of the many roadblocks really to gender equality, I think, is our women's tendency to either stay silent or, like I said, stay timid. And I think we've all been there, even myself, I've been guilty of it. So I witnessed something, be it at work or in school or outside my personal life, where women are being mistreated. And sometimes we tend to ignore it or we tend to look past it, either out of fear to speak up or out of jealousy because maybe we're vying for the same position as the other women, or just out of pure, I guess, neutrality. So we tend to stay silent or brush it off. So I think women's empowerment in this case means to speak up for one another, and to support one another as well, to be the best versions of ourselves, because I've always believed that until all of us are free, none of us are free. So seeing one or a few women in positions of power or in liberating positions won't be as meaningful as seeing all of us in the same position. So I feel like if we can empower each other to be leaders in our own lives. So we don't have to be leaders at work per se. It doesn't have to be an official title. I don't think titles would make much of a difference. So it doesn't matter who you are, even if you're a housewife, a mother, a go-getter, a worker. It's all about empowering yourselves and empowering other women in your lives to lead their own career, lead their own lives in the best way possible. So I think women's empowerment is all about that.
Yes, and women empowerment is also about supporting each other, supporting other ladies as well, because we are stronger when we empower and we support each other. So that is what women empowerment is all about.
Exactly. No, that's exactly really true, because as much as I want to be empowered, and as much as I want to, lead and achieve all these successes as a woman, it'll be so much more meaningful if I can help or empower other women in my lives to do the same. That's when the true meaning of empowerment comes in, when all of us are together in the same boat.
Yes. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. What is your advice to the young generation today, to the millennials, Gen Z?
Gen Z. I would say, frankly, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if I'm the best at giving advices, but I would say to, especially to my generation, the Gen Z,
Gen
women
Z.
out there, to really, again, first is to understand your values and purpose, because I think that is a prerequisite in the working world. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what position you're in, senior position, junior position, corporate, startup, as long as you understand your values and your purpose in what you want to give back to the world or give back to the table, it's hard for things or adversities to deter you so much. So I think understanding your values would help. Another thing I think specifically for women, because this is a women empowerment podcast, in, in my view, is to not live anyone else's life and to not let anyone else's idea of womanhood dictate you. Because women are, again, we're very diverse, right? We come in different forms. We either wear baju kurung, dresses. Some of us don't like wearing dresses, don't like wearing skirts. We wear pants. Some of us have long hair. Some of us have short hair. Some of us maybe even have shaved our heads. Some of us wear the hijab. Some of us are a bit more, we're a bit more revealing. So we all come in different forms and different identities. So I feel like to women out there, to Gen Zs and millennials out there, to not live someone else's version of womanhood for you. Womanhood is, in a way, it's you. It's you as a person right now, you as a woman right now. It's everything that's inside of you, regardless of what the media tells you to wear or what everyone else tells you to wear or what you see on the internet, really. So I think those two are very important.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the show. Okay, so can you share with us more about Ombre and what are your current project that you're currently working at the moment?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, Ombre is a tech company. And what happens is we actually use AI, artificial intelligence, just in case, to build a styling software. So we currently have two facets. Over the past year since I joined, we've been more on the B2B side. So what happens is we help build styling softwares for fashion retailers, mainly e-commerce, especially during this pandemic. So mainly e-commerce. And we are currently working with over 100 different independent fashion retailers in the US on Shopify. But right now, or for 2021, what we're working towards is actually a mobile app. So it's actually a marketplace. It's a fashion marketplace where you can shop for clothes. I guess the difference is that it's a customized marketplace. So depending on how you look like, you tell us how you look like, what's your height, skin tone, body shape. We'll recommend you clothes based on how you look like. So I think this is, in a way, part of my view or my goal to empower women as well, of all shapes and sizes, especially in fashion, where it's infamous for being a bit limited. Especially until recent times, of course. So fashion has always been that industry that's very controversial about certain identities, certain images of women. So Ombre really wants to, in a way, break that barrier and bring style or bring fashion to everyone, regardless of how you look like or your size or your skin tone.
Okay, and how can we download the app for Ombre?
Yeah, so it's gonna launch on January 4th. So just after New Year's next year. It's gonna be available on both iOS and the Google Play Store.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you so much, Fildzah, for sharing about Ombre and also about your career journey and also your aspiration and also your advice. So I hope for those of you who are watching this podcast today, I hope that you are inspired and also motivated by the sharing session by Fildzah. Until then, stay safe, take care, bye.
Thank you, bye.